Well, hi, and welcome back. Hey, today we're going to show you some of the basic drafting tools that we're going to use this trimester, and you'll be using in 7th and 8th grade as well. And so let me show you kind of the basic stuff. We're not going to get into all the tools today, but these are kind of the basics things, okay? So the first thing is you need a good surface to draft on. And at school, we usually use the drafting tables, and they work really well. I'm at home right now filming this. And so what I have here is just a black, this is actually a white drafting board. But because white doesn't do well with cameras, I have put a black piece of paper over the top of it, or shelf paper, and so I have a black surface to draft on. There's only two things you really need in a drafting surface. It needs to be flat. It needs to be a good surface so workbenches don't work well. And then you need a straight edge down either the left or the right side, and that works pretty well. So I have this old piece of board here covered in black paper. This is my drafting surface. That's my drafting board. The second tool is this thing. This is called a Tsquare, and there's two parts to a Tsquare. There is the head of the Tsquare, which is this part. I'm sorry. The head of the Tsquare is this part here. The blade is this part here. The way it works is the head of the Tsquare will slide down the edge of my drafting table like such, and I can move it up and down on the paper here. And if I take my paper down parallel to the blade, then any of the lines that I make across the paper should be parallel to my Tsquare and parallel to the bottom edge of my paper. So we're going to use the Tsquare to draw horizontal lines. And again, when you use it, we got to make sure that the head of the Tsquare is all the way up against the edge of the board. Okay, I might be able to scoot that over just a skosh. If I move some stuff out of the way here, maybe a little more, so you can kind of get a better idea. There we go. So head of the Tsquare has to be up against the edge of the board or the table at all times. If you have a table that you're using where the edges are rounded over, it doesn't work great. So if you have a table with a sharp 90-degree edge on it, that works better, okay? All right, so there's our board and our Tsquare. So the next tools I'm going to show you, these are all triangles. And so let me lay a couple out here. And this is a big one, and this is a smaller one. And again, these are made out of plastic. This year, I think you guys are going to use wood triangles. What we're going to try to do is make a Tsquare for every student and a triangle for every student, so you don't have to share materials. And we'll make them out of plywood or something cheap that will work for what we're doing without a huge investment, and hopefully produce some good drawings. So we have three triangles here. These two are the same, just one is bigger than the other. So I'm going to get rid of this large one. And I have large drafting tools and small drafting tools. So I have two triangles here. Triangles will sit on top of a Tsquare about 99% of the time, okay? And so what we do is we set this on top of the Tsquare, and now we can draw vertical and diagonal lines, and same thing here, vertical and diagonal lines. We can rotate this one. This one is called a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and this one is called a 45, 45, 90. Most of the time we just refer to that as a 45-90. This one is a 30-60-90. Triangles are used to draw vertical and diagonal lines, okay? So I'm going to set these off to the side. Next piece of drafting equipment you're going to use this year, this is a compass. Compasses are used to draw circles. These are kind of heavy-duty compasses. They're not great for drafting, but they're great for woodworking. And the other thing is they should last us. But this year, we're going to ask every student to bring their own compass, because you're going to use them in math and science as well. And so if you'll put your compass in your backpack every day, you'll have it. Compasses draw circles. There is a gauge on here, so you can set the compass to what size you want it. That gauge is totally inaccurate, so we never ever use that. When I set a compass, or I'm going to use a compass, what I do is this is my scale. All you guys refer to them as rulers. But let me get a different one that's colored so that it's easier to see. So here is a black or an orange one. They're pretty reflective though. So the way I set these, instead of using the gauge here, I loosen this up a little bit. I take the stabby part of the compass, or the needle part, and I set it at 0. And then I open or close this and set it to the desired radius that I want. Remember, radius. So whenever we set a compass, we're always drawn from the center of the circle to the outside edge, and that is the radius. Not to be confused with diameter, which is the distance across the circle. Next drafting tool, this is called a circle template. And a circle template is really simple to use. we simply trace the size circle that we want and puts it on our paper. Let me see if I put a piece of paper down, if this helps you see. I don't know if that helps or if that makes it worse. Let me see if I can zoom in on this real quick. This might help you if I can zoom in. That makes it a little more clear. So what I have here is I have a circle, and this is a 2-inch circle. And if you see, there's 4 black dots. In order to get the circle where you want it, you have to draw a cross first, and then set those 4 lines on each leg of the cross, and it will perfectly center your circle where you want it. And so this is called a circle template, and we just trace those circles. The cool part about circle templates is they're super, super accurate. I have had this circle template probably 15, 20 years, and my original ones I still have in my drafting kit from when I was in 7th grade, so they should last forever. The worst thing you can do to a circle template is bend it or flex it, and middle school kids love to put their fingers in there and bend it, and then it snaps across here, and these are ridiculously expensive, so take care of them. We're going to try to give you all assignments that uses your personal compass for the year, so we don't have to worry about washing and sterilizing the circle templates. All right, last thing that I didn't really get to, this we talked for a second. This is a scale. If you look on our scale, you'll see there's a ruler, and that's just a regular ruler where inches are divided into 16ths. But there's all kinds of different little measuring devices on here that allow you to draw an object bigger than it is in real life or smaller than it is in real life. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to draw things. We're going to use just the ruler that's on here for now. And so instead of using one of these, you can use just your ruler that is in your supply bag for the first for the drafts that we're going to do in here, okay? So this kind of gets us to, those are the basics. Oh, one last thing. In drafting, you need tape. And I don't have any masking tape or drafting tape, but I do have this blue painter's tape, and it works pretty well. And the beauty of blue painter's tape is it comes back off really easy, so I can use it, stick the paper down, and take it back off without ripping the corners of the paper, okay? So that's the blue tape. In class, we'll just use regular masking tape, and I will figure out how I'm going to distribute that to you each day. I will probably put on a pair of gloves, sanitize the gloves, and then come around and leave for each of you on the front of your table a piece of masking tape that you will use that day in class. And then when we're done with each draft, we'll throw it away. Okay? So there's our tape. So that is the basic tools that are going to help us get started with drafting. All right? All right. Hey, I'll be back in a little bit and show you guys how to set up a drawing.